Today, we're looking at 12 actors and celebrities who are currently behind bars. Number 12, Tammy Lynn Sytch. Tammy Lynn Sytch, once known as Sunny in WWE, was a big name in the wrestling world during the 1990s. She was called the first diva and was one of the most downloaded women on the internet at the time. But her fame didn't last. Tammy's life spiraled out of control because of alcohol and reckless decisions. In 2022, her life hit rock bottom when she caused a fatal car crash while driving drunk in Florida. The crash killed a 75-year-old man, and prosecutors said her blood alcohol level was way over the legal limit. She was also driving without a valid license at the time. The court sentenced her to 17 years in prison for DUI manslaughter. From the heights of wrestling stardom to sitting in a prison cell, Tammy's story is one of wasted talent and tragic consequences. Number 11, Jen Shah. Jen Shah rose to fame on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She was known for her over-the-top personality, luxury lifestyle, and big spending. But all that money didn't come from a glamorous business. It came from crime. In 2021, federal prosecutors charged her with running a massive telemarketing scam. Her scheme targeted elderly and vulnerable people, tricking them into buying fake business services. For years, Jen and her partners stole millions of dollars from innocent people. At first, she denied everything, but in 2022, she shocked fans by suddenly pleading guilty. The judge sentenced her to 6.5 years in prison, calling her crimes heartless because she specifically preyed on the elderly. For someone who wanted to look like a queen on TV, prison has been a harsh reality check. Number 10, Drew Drechsel. Drew became famous as a champion on American Ninja Warrior. Viewers loved him for his incredible strength, agility, and determination. But behind the scenes, his life was far darker than anyone expected. In 2020, he was arrested and charged with serious crimes involving a teenage girl he met through the show. The charges included child pornography, enticement of a minor, and sexual exploitation. Federal investigators said Drew had been communicating with the girl since she was just 15 years old. After a long court process, Drew pleaded guilty. In 2022, he was sentenced to 10 to 12 years in federal prison, followed by years of supervision once he's released. Fans who once saw him as a hero now see a completely different side of him, a side that destroyed his career forever. Number 9, Jerry Harris. Jerry Harris was one of the breakout stars of Netflix's hit cheerleading documentary, Cheer. His big smile and positive energy made him a fan favorite, and he quickly became a celebrity in his own right. But that image fell apart in 2020 when disturbing accusations came to light. Jerry was charged with producing child pornography and soliciting minors for explicit photos. Prosecutors revealed that he had been contacting teenage boys online and pressured them into sending inappropriate images. In court, Jerry admitted to his crimes and said he was ashamed of what he had done. In 2022, the judge sentenced him to 12 years in prison. For someone who seemed destined for more fame, Jerry's life now serves as a warning about how quickly everything can fall apart. Number 8, Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar, once a reality TV star on 19 Kids and Counting, has a long and troubling history. Back in 2015, it was revealed that he had inappropriately touched underage girls when he was a teenager, including his own sisters. That scandal destroyed his family's show. But in 2021, things got even worse. Federal agents found child sexual abuse material on his computer. The evidence was so strong that he was convicted of receiving and possessing the material. His lawyers tried to appeal, but the conviction was upheld. Josh is now serving over 12 years in federal prison, with his earliest possible release date in 2032. Once held up as an example of family values, Josh Duggar's name is now forever linked to one of the darkest crimes imaginable. Number 7. Jared Fogle. For years, Jared Fogle was the smiling face of Subway sandwiches. He became famous after losing weight by eating their food and turned that into a career as a spokesperson. But behind the wholesome image was a disturbing secret life. In 2015, Jared was arrested and charged with possession of child pornography and traveling to have sex with minors. Investigators found that he had been involved with a network exploiting children. The case shocked the public, not just because of his crimes, but because it involved someone who had built a brand around being a role model. Jared was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison. He has tried and failed to get his sentence reduced. Today, he remains behind bars, a complete fall from grace for the man who once stood at the center of a billion-dollar sandwich empire. Number 6. Zach Avery. Zach Avery wasn't a household name, but he was a working actor who appeared in several low-budget films. He lived in Los Angeles, drove fancy cars, and bought a $6 million home. To his neighbors, he looked like a rising Hollywood star. But his wealth wasn't coming from acting. It was coming from fraud. Zach Avery ran one of the biggest Ponzi scams in Hollywood history. He tricked investors into giving him hundreds of millions of dollars by claiming he had film distribution deals with companies like Netflix and HBO. In reality, those deals never existed. When the scam collapsed, he owed people more than $650 million. In 2022, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. From chasing Hollywood dreams to pulling off one of the city's biggest frauds, Avery is now serving time for greed and lies. Number 5. Skylar Deleon. Skylar Deleon had a small role in Power Rangers as a child actor, but his real notoriety came years later. Along with accomplices, Deleon was convicted of murdering a couple, Tom and Jackie Hawks, in a scheme to steal their yacht. The couple was tied to an anchor and thrown overboard alive, one of the most chilling crimes in California's history. Deleon later transitioned and now identifies as a woman while serving time in prison. She is currently on death row in California, awaiting execution. Number 4. Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham was a Canadian actor known for his role in Riverdale and films like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But behind his boyish looks and acting career, he was battling serious mental health issues. In 2020, he did the unthinkable. He shot and killed his own mother while she was playing piano in their home. Afterward, he packed his car with guns and ammunition, planning to go on a killing spree. He even admitted that he had thoughts of targeting Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Thankfully, he turned himself in before he could hurt anyone else. In 2022, Ryan was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 14 years. His shocking crime stunned fans who once saw him as an innocent child actor. Number 3. Danny Masterson. Danny Masterson rose to fame playing Hyde on That 70s Show. For years, he was part of one of the most popular sitcoms of the late 1990s and early 2000s. But behind the scenes, multiple women accused him of sexual assault. After years of legal battles and 2 separate trials, Masterson was convicted in 2023 of raping 2 women in the early 2000s. The judge sentenced him to 30 years to life in prison. Masterson's case also drew attention because of his ties to the Church of Scientology. Some of his victims claimed the church tried to silence them when they first came forward. In the end, the law caught up to him, and his Hollywood career is now over for good. Number 2. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood. He produced Oscar-winning films, discovered talent, and built Miramax to a powerhouse. But behind his success was decades of sexual abuse and harassment. In 2017, dozens of women came forward with stories of Weinstein's misconduct, sparking the global #MeToo movement. Soon after, he was arrested and charged in multiple states. In 2020, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison in New York for rape and sexual assault. Then in 2022, he was convicted again in Los Angeles and given another 16 years. At 72 years old, he will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. Number 1. Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic became a household name in 2020 thanks to Netflix's hit documentary, Tiger King. Known for his wild personality, flashy outfits, and feud with Carole Baskin, Joe was both loved and hated by viewers. But his crimes were very real. Joe was convicted of 2 big things: hiring someone to try to kill Carole Baskin and violating federal wildlife laws by killing tigers and selling endangered animals. In 2020, he was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. Although Joe has tried to appeal his case and even asked for a presidential pardon, he remains behind bars. From running a bizarre private zoo to becoming one of the most infamous inmates in America, Joe Exotic's downfall is as strange as his life story. Fame can make people think they're untouchable, but the truth always catches up. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more unbelievable celebrity stories.